Hi, my name is Kyland, and I've been to 11 countries, but today I'm talking about the time I went to London. So let me take you back. I'm 17 years old. I'm in high school, and my high school is organizing this trip. It was this teaser trip of Europe. So essentially we did 2 days London, 2 days France, 2 days Austria, 2 days Switzerland, 2 days Germany. So they have this thing in London called the Eurostar, train that goes underneath the channel from London over to Paris. We're going through security. We all bring our bags, 20 kids and some teachers. And at security, my mind started going a little bit because I knew that actually I had a little pocket knife inside of my bag.
I'm the bad guy.
And I was like, well, it shouldn't be a big deal. They'll just throw it away or whatever if needed, if they don't check the bags, or maybe they won't even notice it. Inching my way up the security line, I'm sweating a little bit, but I figure, it should be fine. Just, small pocket knife, like no big deal. Security guard stops me, and I see him. He's looking at the x-ray, and he, scanning a bag, and then my bag, and it doesn't keep going.
Is there a problem, officers?
I see him looking, and he looks a little bit closer, and I'm like, yeah, if that's for the thing, you could just throw it away. And they're like, no, we actually need to talk to you for a minute. So they pull me over to the side. Dude comes up, puts on gloves, and is like, hey, do you have anything in your bag, any weapons or anything? I was like, oh yeah, there's like a pocket knife, like not really a weapon that I would think of, but he's like, can you take it out for me? I was like, yeah, no problem. So, dig in, take out the knife. He's like, okay, is there anything else in the bag? And I'm like, no, that's it. He's like, okay. And then he proceeds to take out every single item from my bag to make sure I wasn't lying. By this point, there's 20 kids on the other side of this line. They're kind of staring at me and waiting for me, and one of the teachers was nice enough to come back and just kind of chill next to me. So they take us back to this back room, and it's this all white room, and I'm like, oh, this is where you beat people with phone books or something. I'm a little bit worried. I'm terrified because I'm 17, I'm in this other country, and it's day 2 of a 10-day trip. We're only in the first spot, and I'm like, I'm gonna miss this entire trip and probably end up in jail or whatever.
I don't want to go to jail.
They questioned me for maybe an hour or a little bit less. And they're like, all right, cool. So now we actually have to have the police. And I thought it was just gonna be fill out some paperwork or something. He's like, oh no, we actually have to do another interview. And the officer, he has the little London, the hat and everything. And I just was like, yeah, how does this work? And he says, well, essentially I'm gonna ask you another series of questions. And based on your answers, either one of 2 things will happen. You'll get a caution or you'll go to jail. And I was like, well, I don't know what a caution is, but that sounds better than going to jail. It's funny because in hindsight, I was telling this story a couple years after, and somebody, that was more familiar with the British accent was like, I think you were saying a caution.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
So we go through this new series of questions, and the officer's like, you know what? This is all good. We're gonna go ahead and fill out the question. I was like, great. So he starts filling out my information on this form, and he's like, hey, wait, how old are you?
How old are you? I was just dancing. How old are you?
I was like, oh, I'm 17. He's like, oh. He's like, yeah, so, since you're so young, we actually can't give you a caution here. We have to go to the station. I was like, okay, cool, no problem. He's like, yeah, but so in order to take you to the station, we actually have to arrest you.
What more do you want from me?
So they walk me out. They don't even put me in handcuffs, but they have me escorted with multiple police officers, and the teacher's still with me. Outside the airport, there is an actual paddy wagon. It is a truck that's box-shaped, and they open up the back, and in the back there's 2 cages. They asked me to step inside one of the cages. I can't even stand up all the way in it. It's all metal bars and stuff. The teacher, like I said, the sweetest woman ever, this angel, she stays with me. She's talking me down the whole time. She's like, hey, it's all good. She's telling me stories. There's actually, that day had been the anniversary of her father's passing. And she's like, you know what? I always feel his spirit on these days. And whenever I see birds, I think of him. She's like, because there's a bird right outside the airport when we walked in. She's like, I saw this bird. That was my dad saying that he's with us. He got us. We're all good.
It's beautiful.
But I'm also still panicking because I'm about to miss out on this trip and be in jail. And I don't know what's gonna happen. They drive us to the police station. We go in. There's actually, it's funny because the like sergeant or whoever is on this like elevated desk, like platform things, you know, like Oliver Twist or something. Like this dude's just on, it's very intimidating. He's kind of stern, like he's not nice about any of this process. And I was like, oh, I thought it was just not a big deal. We were just gonna fill out this paperwork here. And then they start processing me. So like doing the fingerprinting and paperwork, and I'm like, whoa, like I thought we were just coming here to fill out a quick form. Like, and he's like, no, like, well, we have to fill out a form, but then we also have to have it signed by like a judge or something like a judge. And he's like, I was like, so how long does this take? And he's just like, oh, you know, it could be a couple hours and best case. And I was like, what about worst case? He's like, a couple of days. No. It's like, wait, so I'd have to stay here a couple of days? And so I'm panicking. Then all of a sudden somebody gets a phone call. And I don't know exactly what happened, but our tour guide for the school group actually knew some people that mattered, and called them, was like, hey, you don't understand, it's just a dumb American kid.
Americans.
He has no idea, like it's not a problem, it's just a mistake. And whoever he talked to got it thrown out, and the guy's like, oh, this is much easier. Literally tears a piece of paper. He's like, we're all good now. He's like, we can actually just fill out this quotient or whatever they had to do. Because I was just so emotionally elated and overjoyed and everything. And he's like, yeah, you know, you don't understand. Like, same way you guys have people that get shot all the time, we have people get stabbed all the time. I was like, man. So we get on the Eurostar, we go to Paris, and I'm just apologizing. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I know we missed some stuff. And as we get there, it's actually raining. We go in the nice hotel, it's warm. We have, I buy the teacher dinner. When everybody arrives, they all look miserable. They're wet, they're tired. Apparently, like, some of the tour was thrown off because of the rain, and they got stuck in it and didn't have a good time, and everybody was starving because the food that they had was awful. So it ended up being kind of like this really cool moment of like, wow, like my teacher's dad really was looking after us, and like everything kind of worked out in this amazing way. But it was a crazy ride, and this was the story of when I got arrested in London.